all equal to 0. Then you're going to factor. Each factor gets set equal to 0, and you solve that by itself. And then we're going to write out our solution set, just like we were with the graphing. Okay? So number 1, the first thing we're going to do is set equal to 0. We're going to factor x squared plus 9x. How would we have factored that in the last unit? Ethan?
X plus 3 and then x minus 3.
That would give us x squared minus 9. This is x squared plus 9x. Yes, we take out the GCF in this case. So you're going to take the x out. When we take an x out, what do we have left? That is still equal to 0. Now we can solve this by looking at the two factors. The two factors I'm referring to are x and x plus 9. So the first factor is x. So you're going to pull that out, and you set that equal to 0. And that one's done. There's nothing to solve there. We already have x isolated. The other one will be x plus 9 is equal to 0. And now this one's just a one-step equation. How do I solve x plus 9 equals 0? Very good. Subtract 9, and what is x equal? So the two values for this one are negative 9 and 0. So you write it down in your solution set. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So now you guys did the hard work. The easy part is setting each of those factors equal to 0. And the reason this works is that either of these factors equals 0, that equation is going to equal 0. Okay. Let's look at number 2. How do I factor 4x squared minus 8x? What do I need to do? Very good. What is the greatest common factor? 4. Very good. 4x out. And what do we have left? Good. Okay, so now you have your two factors. If either of those factors equals 0, then the equation is set equal to 0. So first we're going to take 4x and set that equal to 0. And what will x equal? Okay, very good. 0, very good. Then you go and do the same thing with the other factor, x minus 2 equals 0. And now what is x equal? Positive 2, very good. Then we're going to write our solutions up. We have 0, 2. How is that so far, Madison? Yes, you can. Is there any questions before I do another one? Does this feel doable? Easy? Good. All right, now how about number 3? How do I factor x squared minus 4? There's two ways to solve this. I'm going to do it the factoring way, and we'll talk about the other one another day. How do I factor x squared minus 4? Ethan?
This one would be x minus 2.
Yes. Very good. So this is the difference of squares. We have x minus 2, x plus 2 is still equal 0. From here, we're going to set each of them equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0. Go ahead and solve. What will x equal? Positive 2. And then we have x plus 2 equals 0. And what will this one be? Okay. I'm going to skip 4. And let's do number 5.
Do you want us to set it up as the x equals?
Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. X equals negative 2, 2. Thank you. All right, look at number 5. How do I factor number 5? Very good. Yeah. Because the factors of 21 that give us a negative 10, negative 7, negative 3. So we'd have x minus 7, x minus 3 equals 0. What's my next step? Separate them, right. We set each of them equal to 0. For the x minus 7 equals 0, what is x equal? And for the x minus 3? 3. Very good. Solution sets, so we have 3, 7. Again, that's where it's going to cross the x-axis. Hopefully you made that connection. That the solution set is still where it's crossing that x-axis. It's just a different way to solve it.
Why is x minus 7 equals 0 a positive sign?
If I were to plug 7 back in, it would be 7 minus 7 equals 0, which is a true statement. Negative 7 minus 7 would give you negative 14. Alright, number 7. How do I do this one? What was our strategy when we didn't have an a equals 1? What did you say, Ethan? Yep, we're going to do the slip and slide. So x squared minus 13x minus 90. 0. What are my factors of 90 that will give me a negative 13? Very good. We want positive 5 and negative 18. X minus 18, x plus 5. What's my next step? Yeah, we want to divide by 3. 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. Then we're going to slide this back since 5/3 is already reduced. 3x plus 5 is another binomial. Alright, what do I do next? Doesn't equal to 0, right? So x minus 6 equals 0. Add the 6 to both sides and you get positive 6. This one we get 3x plus 5 equals 0. Our first step is to subtract 5. So 3x equals negative 5. Divide by 3. X equals negative 5/3. Once you see a pattern, you can skip some of these steps. For instance, here we have 18/3. We know it would become 6, and you take the opposite of what's in there. It's a positive 6. Notice here we have 5/3. It's positive, but now the answer is negative 5/3. Once you identify those patterns, it's okay to skip some of those steps. And that is the idea. The more you know, the quicker this will go. If you need to write all the steps out, I will never take off for that. Yes? Yes, you can. Alright, looking at the next page. Alright, so number 9, now we have a quadratic, but it's not set equal to 0. So you're going to move all the terms to the same side. So we're going to take 5x and subtract it from either side. So if it's positive on this side, it's going to be negative on the other. You can't combine them in this case because they are not like terms. So you first move the 5x over to get 2x squared minus 5x equals 0. How do I factor 2x squared minus 5x? Ethan?
You can take what the x is on.
Very good. We're taking x out. When we take an x out, we're going to have 2x minus 5 equals 0. What do I do from here? Ethan?
Make the x on the outside equal 0.
Very good. And then that one's done. That one was easy. And then do this one. 2x minus 5 equals 0. From here, add 5. And then divide by 2. X is equal to 5. 0. 5. Are we okay with number 9? We'll do number 11 next. Tell me if I go too fast. Number 11, we got to get it set equal to 0. So what should I move over first? Very good. So we have 2x squared on one side, positive x squared on the other. So we're going to subtract x squared, subtract 2x squared minus x squared leaves you with x squared. At the same time, we have this negative 1, so we're going to add 1, add 1. What is negative 15 plus 1?
45, negative 49.
Very good. And that now equals 0. You don't have to write all that out as long as you can do it in your head, that's fine. How do I factor x squared minus 49? Difference of squares, good. So if I do a difference of squares, what will I get? Very good. And then we set each one equal to 0. First one will give us negative 7. The second one gives us positive 7. 7, 7 for our solution. All right, again, looking at the rest of that page, which ones would you like to see on the board? Connor?
Where's the 2 go?
When we did this 2?
Yeah.
2x squared minus x squared gave us just x squared.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can. Any of those would you like to see on the board, or do you guys feel comfortable with this process? Hannah? 16. Oh, that one looks big. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take everything on the right side and move over to the left. So I'm going to add 3x. And I need to add it to the 41x. So I pick the one with the like term with it. 41x plus 3x are going to be 44x. In the same step, I'm going to subtract 2 from either side. 98 minus 2 would give us positive 96. The 4x squared is the same, but now it's equal to 0. Does that part make sense? Now what should I do? Did you see it? I think I heard it over there. Are you talking about a slip and slide method?
Yeah.
So you could do the slip and slide method, but it'll just be harder to solve. Right away, I think somebody maybe misunderstood. So you can take a 4 out. So we take a 4 out, it will be easier to factor.
I was looking at the top and I saw 41. I was like, you can't factor 4.
Oh, yes. That's easy to do. Alright, so if I take a 4 out, that's going to give me x squared plus 11x, 96 divided by 4. Thank you. Now the 4 is still there, but it's kind of a moot point because you could divide the 4 out of there. So we could just focus on this. Remember how before I was telling you to leave the 4 there? At this step of solving, you could divide that 4 out of there. So if you divide 0 by 4, then you just get 0. So what do I do now to factor the x squared plus 11x plus 24? Just factor, yeah, what do you get? Do they have the factors yet? 3 and 8, very good. Now set them each equal to 0, so x plus 3 equals 0. What will x equal for that one? Good. X plus 8 equals 0. Now what will x equal? Solution set. Negative 8, negative 3. Is there any other ones that you see that you would like to see on the